Hello and welcome to an episode of A Stock Car is Born. With me is Ben Harding again.
Good afternoon.
How are we doing, buddy?
Very well, thank you.
Today we're going to look at, you've seen the previous episodes where the car was born in the workshop and it was built and all put together and assembled on the workbench. What we're now looking at doing, we're here at the wonderful track in Leicestershire at the Leicester Stockcar Model Car Club. We're here during the week where we have the track to ourselves, where we're going to go through the basics of getting the car going around the track and setting it up. We're going to be talking to Ben as regards to the setting up and all the little secrets that are involved, hopefully. The car has had a run. We tried to film it with its first time out. We've got some clips later in this video, but time and the way the race meeting went on, we weren't able to do what we were doing today. So we're going to go through the step by step and showing you the basics of setting the car up, so you yourselves, if you wish to take part in having a go with a 1/8 scale stock car, you can learn the basics of setting it up and having lots and lots of fun. So behind us you will see we've already laid out a table with the equipment, and Ben's going to go through what you need to get started. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next.
Brilliant. Let's do it.
Let's crack on.
Cool.
Okay then, Ben, so we've got the equipment to get us started with getting the car on the track and everything. So can you go through the basics of now the car is built, the car is ready to run, and the equipment that I've brought, which is my equipment, but just go through to help beginners of what they need to come along to a meeting and enjoy themselves.
Right. So now the car's complete, as the videos from before. So the first thing we really need to do is make sure that the radio gear is connected, steering links, make sure all the endpoints are set right, and make sure that the engine, the throttle position is set right as well.
Okay, so basically, for those that don't know, I mean, the modern day of our radio systems, it's 2.4, and basically you Bluetooth the transmitter to the receiver, where before we'd use crystals and so forth.
That's right.
So now this allows us to bind the transmitter to the radio, and the more models you have, then you leave the receiver in each car, and you swap model memories, just like, I suppose, just like picking a tune from an iPod, really.
That's right, you're just picking a different channel.
Okay then.
So let's switch on the car and go through it.
Just for the benefit of the video, we are outside at the Leicestershire Club 8th Stock Car racetrack, and we do have visitors here because there's a beautiful lake, there's a restaurant here. It gets a lot of visitors and a lot of attraction, doesn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it does. It's very busy.
Which is good for the sport.
Yeah, race day, there's a lot of spectators looking. You know, people never seen it before, with the noise. It attracts people in.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's good. So right, now we'll switch the car on. And we're just making sure that the throttle position is set correctly, so that when you do start the engine up, that this throttle linkage is not wide open. Just make sure that everything's closed in this closed position, so that when you do start the engine, it doesn't rev.
So you're looking
away.
After the engine?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing you want is the engine to run high revs before it's actually got a bit of heat into it.
Okay.
And on the steering side, we have to make sure that the ends, so our wheels are not touching.
Wheels are free, so if you've got full steering on.
So we got full steering and everything's free.
Okay, and this is my radio set. So this is what we call a stick set radio, but a lot of people, it's becoming more common that they're using a steering wheel system.
Yeah.
So that seems to be with a lot of the RTR vehicles coming out of various different suppliers and countries. So I'm using the KO radio system, and traditionally it's a stick system, which is what I'm used to. But there's two types out there for personal preference.
Yeah.
But with transmitters, it is about personal preference, isn't it? It's what's comfortable.
Whatever you feel comfortable with, and whatever you've used in the past, you know.
So that's the car and the radio, and that's been set. And nearly any model car that you buy, you especially with the radio system, you get a set of instructions.
Yes.
And they're all good quality instructions these days.
That's right.
And if in doubt, there's a model car club near you. There's YouTube. There's the BRCA website. There's the BRCA Facebook pages. You'll never be stuck for help and support in our sport. So. That's the car and the radio, which obviously we will fire up and get running shortly. So your pit gear, your equipment that you're going to take with you. What we're looking at?
Well, everything on the car is metric. So we don't need a vast amount of tools.
Okay.
Basically, all we require is a 10 and 11 mil spanner for removing the wheels and adjusting the rear suspension arms, which we'll come back to later on, and the same with the bolts. Everything is metric again. So we're using 1.5 mil Allen keys.
Okay, so these
also got a 2 mil Allen key, a 2.5.
and these are equipment that you can get from most model shops, and we use these drivers because they're easier to hold than a conventional Allen key as we know in a toolbox.
Yes, that's right, right. And they're just faster as well. It's just easier.
It's just easier to work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easier. So we don't need a vast amount of tools.
Okay.
We don't need a vast amount of tools, but one thing we specifically need for these engines is a long flat-bladed screwdriver for adjusting the carburettor.
Okay, this is for altering the fuel mixture to get the engine to run on song, so it's running sweet, and also so it doesn't overheat, I'm guessing, as well.
Right.
Because the engines do get warm.
Oh, they get very hot if they're set. If the fuel mixture's set too lean incorrectly, it will really damage the engine.
Okay.
So it's very, very, very critical to keep the engine around 90 degrees.
Right, okay, and nearly somebody has got a temperature gauge trackside anyway, and as I found out, people come to you and they come and help you, and how's your car going, and is it running all right? Sounds a bit like it's running a bit lean. As yourself, not just you offering your help and support, but 3 or 4 drivers, depending on who you're pitting to, next to, lots of people will go, how's it going, is it all right, sounds all right, this, that, and there's a lot of support, even though you are competing out on the track against one another, which is really great.
Yeah, there's a lot of people listening out to try and help you guys that have never done it before. You could get lost in the settings of it, but with guys that have been doing it, they've pretty much got the hang of it, and a lot of the guys that have been doing it a long time, it's all with the ear.
Yeah,
the ear.
It's listening to the engine.
Yeah, because you can hear the engine when it's starting to lean out. It sounds different.
Yeah. Okay, and it's what you learn as well. You get to know your car as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So what have we got left on the pit table then? I see we've got some lubricants, we've got some oils and everything. So can you just give us a run through what we've got there?
Yeah. Well, basically, the car runs on 25% nitro fuel. A couple of different options that we've been running.
Yeah, a couple of different brands.
Yeah, a couple of different brands there. So that's
just to give the audience an idea. If you could just pass the Model Technics fuel. I bought the Model Technics fuel when the car was finished, and I have done 3 meetings and a practice at the Peterborough show, and I've used less than half a tank, and that's been a little bit on the greedy side because I was obviously keen and enthusiastic. So that gives you an idea. It's about what, £35 a gallon maybe?
Yes.
So on the whole you could probably get what, 8 to 10 meetings to a gallon?
Yes.
So in 8 to 10 meetings to a gallon, that is what, 4 qualifiers, maybe a semi, maybe even a final and practice.
Yes.
So it's not bad going, really, is it?
Not bad going, no, that's right.
So it's not.
the fuel cost isn't that bad.
That bad, and there's always somebody that's got fuel available, or you can order it from your local model shop as well.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the fuel, and obviously I've got a smaller container there that you can see that's already full, and that's how you fuel the car. So you take a smaller container and you would just simply apply it to the fuel tank. It's got a spring-loaded flip top lid
To keep the pressure in.
And obviously to stop any fuel getting out. And there you go. The car's now fueled up. So we've got some other items on the table. If you could just go through those for us, please.
Now, one of the main things that's quite a bit different to any other cars that are out there to race, we have to keep the back end of the car lubricated with oil, because we have a solid rear axle rotating inside plastic swing arms.
Okay, so key thing is it's friction, material on material.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the main thing is a small amount of engine oil around the rotating parts inside the axle.
I can just get in there. Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So we're just a small amount of oil on there, and also just along the back of the swing arm.
And this is where the moulding, the plastic moulding, is rubbing actually onto the chassis rail.
Yes.
And this is kind of key. This is kind of suspension and dampening. I'm not insulting you, but at its basics. But however, this is attention to detail, as I have learned.
Yes.
Okay. So definitely, it becomes a routine. Once you get into it, it becomes a routine. As I've learned, it's like looking after this part of the vehicle, I have found has made the difference to how I want the vehicle to respond for my style of driving. And it does make a difference. Now, when I gave the car a run, I did exactly what you said, clean it down, look after it. And to do the whole car only took me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you could even do it at the end of the day before you went home.
Could do.
So we keep coming back to this, where stock cars haven't really changed in 30 years, and to me that's a good thing. And the basics of a car, however, attention to detail, to the performance changes you can get out of a basic chassis is mind-blowing.
Yes. Just with a slight adjustment on the arms, can make a real big difference to the handling and performance.
Okay, and literally also maybe the viscosity of the oil.
Yes.
If you know, for those that know anything about their engine oils and everything, some people just go to a garage and get serviced, never know what fuel the engine oil they've got. Here, you know, you could maybe pick. It's a nice warm day today, so maybe you might use a slightly thicker oil because it's warmer.
I don't. I just use
the same oil we've got.
Yes.
Yeah, no nonsense, Ben.
Yeah, just because you could get lost in it.
Yes, you could. Go too far.
Yeah, I don't think there's a great advantage of using a slightly different oil to the guy next to you.
So, if and when I might beat you and you come and say, what oil am I using? I'm going to have to tell you, aren't I?
Yes.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, because you won't be able to find your oil bottle.
As you can tell, you need to come along and visit Stockcar meeting, because it's like banter first, then it's racing, and then it's competitive. It's bizarre how it's the other way around. Not that any other racing isn't good fun, because it is. And I've had years of pleasurable experiences and time with a lot of racers and stuff, and still do. But you walk in here, and if somebody isn't making fun or a comment, or you do something or whatever, it's like you've got to share it, and you've got to kind of crack on with it. So we've also got a couple of other products there. I see that we've got some greases, we've got some oils. Can you just give us a quick run through what you may use those for, please?
Yes. Now we have silicone oil, which we use for lubricating the clutch with.
Yes.
On the end bell of.
That's because the heat of the bearing. If I can just zoom in quickly there. So there is the actual clutch. It's the gold coloured item there, and the darker colour, if I can just put my finger there, that's the clutch bell. So that's there. I sound like I know what I'm talking about now, but it's this little bearing down here. I could just point to it, just there, and that gets quite hot, doesn't it?
Very.
So, and it's a couple of drops of that.
Yeah. Literally.
We'll do that.
A couple of drops of oil
Over my car and everything as well. It's just steady hand. Okay, and because the heat does get quite hot, you wouldn't want to touch that after a race.
No.
So
no, that would be very warm.
I was going to say, shall I clean my car? Will you do it?
I will do it for you.
So excellent. So that's lubricating the clutch bearing.
Yeah, that's for the clutch bearing.
And then we've also got this interesting item here in this tube. Now, I had to source this. However, I do believe a couple of people do have it trackside.
Yeah, it's available now at the trackside to buy.
And this does what?
This we use for quite a few different things. The clutch drum that we just showed you with the oil on the top hat.
Yep.
Inside of there, this is what we grease the clutch with.
Okay.
And also, we use this for dampening on the outside front wheel.
Now I'm going to walk around the other side without trying to fall over and causing another blooper. Okay. Just so I can see, without moving the car, it's easy to come around here to see what Ben actually means. So if you were to look, shall we just turn? Now you can see the front near side spring, and you may just be able to work out that's a tiny bit of grease, because this is Blue Peter moment. This is what we did earlier. I prepared the car after it had been used, and I re-greased the front kingpins, and this grease is the nominated grease that seems to help and support the dampening of the kingpin. If I just get in as close as I can there, and then maybe just zoom in a little bit. So really close there, so you can see where it's all greased. If you can just give that a little bit of movement, okay, and that just helps with the dampening, okay. And then likewise with the outside, if I can just there we go. You can see there as well. Now obviously this spring on the outside is much stronger because the car is only going in anti-clockwise direction. So it's quite a bit stiffer spring on the outside.
Yes, I'd say it's maybe four times.
Four times.
4 times stronger.
So, and you don't need much of this grease, so it should last you quite a while once you've purchased it. So that's that product. Okay, and then you've just got what I consider to be our generals. You've got your degreaser for cleaning, double D40.
Brilliant for removing all of the grime off the body shell, all the black marks where somebody's tried to have a word with you on the track, and you have some scuff marks on your body shell. WD-40 seems to remove that straight away.
Yeah, so and they're just basics that you pretty much carry anywhere.
Yeah.
So finally, can we just talk about one key factor that you need with one of these types of cars, and that's starting box.
Yeah.
Let me just
the starting box.
rather than editing, I'll just walk around.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the starting box to enable to it does many. It's like a pit buddy, isn't it? It does many jobs.
It's your home.
It is where you live trackside, because it's quite compact in the pits. When we had a record entry at the first regional.
We did.
Was at Midlands round a couple of weeks ago. And it was a bumper entry. There was at least 5 new drivers. It was amazing atmosphere. So it was quite packed in here. It's quite tight.
Packed, yes. So you are limited in your pit space. You do only have a 1 metre pit space to operate in.
Yeah. However, that's kind of all you need, isn't it?
You don't really actually need that much space.
Yeah.
You only need the width of a toolbox.
And that's basically what we're going to go through. That's what it is now. So it is a toolbox converted. 2 or 3 people make these for you. Yep. I purchased this from a fellow racer second hand. It came ready to go, and the gentleman even dropped it off at my parents because he lived the far side of the country, and I paid £80 for this box. It was ready to go, literally put my car on it, start it up. It got a battery with it. The only thing I had to add was my own charger for the receiver pack to power the electrics, and I bought myself a glow start. So if you could just run through the box for us, please, Ben, of what things, what they actually are for people that haven't seen one of these before.
So it's just a basic cantilever toolbox that's converted into a stand on the top to physically hold the car through the chassis. So the main thing is the car, when the engine is running, the car is vibrating a lot, so it's trying to move. So the start box here, it has to hold the car steady for you for when you're working on it and tuning the engine and various other different things. So the main thing is to make sure that the box is a nice, strong position so the car's not moving. But then also, it has to start the engine from the 12-volt motor.
And these starters have come from other areas, really, haven't they?
Mainly from flying.
The flying, some from motor control model flying.
Yeah.
These would be a starter for an IC plane.
That's right.
And a rubber starter nose cone adapter would fit inside of the wheel. I'll just zoom into there. However, what we do is we fix a rubber wheel to the outside, and this in turn will spin the actual flywheel of the engine to basically bump starting the engine is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're literally bump starting it. So as the motor turns, the other end of the frame is sprung loaded so that it can go up and down, and that action there allows the flywheel of the engine to be turned. So we're literally onto the flywheel of the engine there. So the rubber donut, the rubber wheel, rotates and turns this flywheel here, which in turn turns the engine over. So
you can, if you've got the tools and got the space and got the time, you can build your own starter box, and a lot of people do, don't they?
Yeah.
And they add their own little personal touches to it for how they want their box to be, so they know where their tools, their equipment, where everything is. But you can buy one of these. How much was one of these boxes cost if you want to buy one from somebody already built?
I fear they're about £130 now.
Yeah.
So that's the box, the frame, the starting wheel, and the rubber donut.
Yeah.
And the electrics.
And the electric, because the wiring, as you see, I've got a switch there that's got a safety on it as well, so it's all built in. The only thing I had to add is this little gadget here, which is my battery charger. You can buy one of these for about £15–20. It connects to the actual wiring there, which charges the battery inside, and you're just peaking the battery. So it's a straightforward process. I've got a flight box gauge there that you can plug a glow plug lead in, but I've got a fancy one because it lasts longer between charges, and that's for glow starting.
Yeah, that is for starting the engine. It's for igniting the engine.
And then obviously the drawers and everything that I've got inside there, that's just bits and pieces, tools and equipment, spares, spare glow plugs. But as you can see, I'm not carrying a lot of spares because I don't need to. I think that's the key thing about this, isn't it? You know, I've come into this and I've turned up with a car, and when I first turned up I didn't even have a box, and yet it didn't stop me. Didn't stop me racing, and now I've only probably got a few more spares than when I started, to be fair.
There's really no need to carry a vast amount of spares for this. Every meeting we go to, there's the guys who supply us all with the bits and pieces. They're always at trackside.
Yeah. And if not, somebody will lend you something.
That's right. Excellent.
So
there's just no need to bring a vast amount of spares. You'll see guys most of the guys here haven't got a lot of stuff at all.
Cool. Should we fire it up?
Yeah.
We can see how the starting procedure, and then what we'll look at doing. We're going to talk about setup of car, and we're going to go through the tyres because it does play a key part, and then we're going to put the car around some laps, and then we've got a guest with us today, haven't we?
Yes.
That has a bit of success. That quietly in the background a minute, but we're going to introduce him and bring him forward, and he's kindly offered to help to do some filming. So we're going to have some fun with this today and just show you what it's all about.
Yeah.
So when you're ready, sir.
Right, the radio gear's on. Like we said before, just make sure that the throttle's not wide open, because the last thing you want is your engine to run really hard at the start. And let's see if we can fire her up. Oh, still a little bit cold.
It's not run for a couple of weeks, so
no.
she's sulking. Reckon? That's Ben's race face, actually, for those that don't know. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so that's a walkthrough of basically the what's required, what's needed. You can always message us, you could always send us an email, you can look on one of our Facebook pages. So I think the next stage is to look at the car, look at the tyres, let's get some laps in, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, let's do it.